Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're delving into a profound belief within Shia Islam that kind of redefines the end of the story. You see, what if the end wasn't really the end? What if some people got a second life, a grand encore, right back here on Earth? So, let's dive into this. What we're exploring today is a concept that sits right between the coming of a messianic figure and the ultimate final day of judgment. You can think of it as a middle act, a pretty spectacular chapter before the final curtain call for all of humanity. And this concept has a name. It's called Raj'at. Now, according to the source material we're looking at, it's a foundational belief, but it's one that's often really mysterious and frankly misunderstood by those not familiar with it. So what is Raj'at at its absolute core? Well, it's the idea of the return. It's the belief in a literal return to life, right here on this planet, for a very, very specific group of people. This isn't the big universal resurrection that many religions talk about. No, this is an exclusive event, a final chapter of justice playing out for the whole world to see. And when we say exclusive, we really mean it. As you can see, Raj'at is not for everybody. The belief is that this resurrection is reserved for just two groups on the absolute extremes of the spectrum: the best of the best, the purely faithful, and the worst of the worst, the architects of pure evil and corruption. Now, a belief this profound, you know it has to have deep roots, right? So let's take a look at the scriptural foundations. The evidence that's pointed to comes from some specific interpretations of the Quran and a huge body of narrations. Take this verse from the Quran, for example. The phrase, "You have made us die twice, and you have given us life twice," is seen as a key piece of evidence. Now, many people might read that and think about our birth and our final resurrection. But for proponents of Raj'at, it points to a totally different cycle. A first death, then a temporary return to life here on Earth during Raj'at, then a second death, and then the final resurrection for everyone. It's a four-step journey, not just two. And in this verse, the key is just one Arabic word, fauj, which means a contingent or a group. The logic presented here is pretty straightforward. The final day of judgment is for everyone, no exceptions. So when the Quran talks about gathering just a fauj, just a select group from each nation, well, that has to be talking about a different, more selective event. And that event, according to this belief, is Raj'at. And the sheer volume of literature on this topic is just staggering. To give you a sense of how deep this belief runs, one scholar is said to have documented over 12,000 narrations, or hadith, related just to the topic of Raj'at. So yeah, this is not some fringe idea. It's a deeply embedded part of the theology. So, if it's the purely good and the purely evil who are said to return, who are we actually talking about? Let's take a look at the cast of characters for this epic event. We're not talking about anonymous saints and sinners here. The belief is about the dramatic reappearance of some of the most central figures in Islamic history. We're talking about heroes and villains, prophets and their key companions, returning for one last world-changing confrontation. And among the righteous, a very special place is given to Imam Hussein. According to the narrations, he will be the first of the holy figures to return, leading the way to witness the ultimate triumph of justice, the very justice he was so tragically denied during his first life on Earth. So how does this all fit together on a timeline? Well, it's pretty clear. First, you have the appearance of the Mahdi, which kicks off this final age of global justice. Then, within that new era, Raj'at takes place. In fact, it's considered an even more extraordinary, more strange event than the Mahdi's arrival itself. But it's still just the prelude to the final universal day of judgment, known as Qiyamah. Okay, so this might all sound like very abstract, future-focused theology, but what does it actually mean for believers today? Well, as it turns out, the belief in Raj'at has some really profound implications for how you live your life right here, right now. You see, this isn't some obscure doctrine that's just for scholars to debate. It's a living, breathing part of daily faith. Believers actually affirm their belief in this return, in Raj'at, in their regular prayers, making it a constant, present reality in their spiritual lives. So what's the big takeaway here? This belief does a lot more than just offer a vision of the future. It fundamentally shapes a person's present. It gives them this incredible hope that justice will be seen on this earth. And it sets an unbelievably high bar for spiritual living, because you just might be called back. And that's really the heart of it. That's its power today. The aspiration to be worthy enough to return, to stand alongside the prophets and the imams. becomes this powerful daily motivator for achieving spiritual excellence. And that's our explainer on the doctrine of Raj'at. It's a belief that offers this incredible vision of ultimate justice and victory. But beyond that, it leaves all of us with a really powerful question to think about. How does our own belief about the end of the story, whatever it may be, shape how we live our lives today?